calling a man bald counts as sexual harassment, UK judge rules. UK Employment Tribunal argued that the use of the word bald as an insult related to a protected characteristic of sex. Calling a man bald can now be classed as sexual harassment. A UK Employment Tribunal judge has ruled. This is CNBC. 3 members of the tribunal who decided on the ruling and alluded to their own experience of hair loss said that baldness was more prevalent in men than women. Therefore, they argued that the use of the word bald as an insult related to a protected characteristic of sex. The tribunal compared calling a man bald to commenting on the size of a woman's breasts based on a 1995 case. What do you think? Is calling a man bald the same as saying you're a small titty bitch? You a small titty bitch. But it's not. It's just you're bald.
What if they have big titties then? Is that the same? Yeah, so small titty or big. Talking about another woman's breasts is the same as talking about a man's baldness.
What if I say that you've got a beautiful head of hair? You've got a big head of hair. That's a lot of hair you've got there.
Yeah. Wow.
Stop sexualizing me.
If we were to consider this versus the Grammarly thing, I wonder which one's more ridiculous.
This is pretty ridiculous.
This is pretty
insane.
The
story is really good. The ruling published Wednesday was made on a case where the insult was alleged to have been used against Tony Finn while he worked as an electrician for the British Bung Manufacturing Company. Finn had worked at the company, who manufactures wooden cask closures for the brewing industry in Yorkshire in the northeast of England, for nearly 24 years. He was fired last year, and the circumstances around his dismissal were also part of the case. Finn claimed that he was called a bald and was also threatened by his shift supervisor, Jamie King, in a dispute in July 2019. The tribunal determined that using this insult was a violation against the claimant's dignity. It created an intimidating environment. It was done for that purpose, and it related to the claimant's sex. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not call a man bald, or you will get in serious trouble.
I mean, I didn't know that's why he filed it. I mean, that's just like you're making fun of someone on the job. That's harassment, right? I don't think saying the word bald as a description should be then, more specifically like tuned into, oh, this is sexual harassment. Like the bald part. Saying someone's a bald, like that's just making fun of someone, right? Like that's harassment, of course, on the job. I didn't know that's what the story was.
That's what they said. But the problem is that if you want to do protected sex characteristics, you're going to open up these kinds of conversations, right? Because on average, women don't go bald that much. So it means that men will take their baldness as a protected characteristic. It's the same reason why actually...
Oh, so now we're factoring averages and generalizations.
I think so.
But I don't think people want to do that often, do they?
I saw a really interesting post on Instagram yesterday about the fact that calling someone an incel or a virgin or a cuck online is significantly more accepted than slut shaming. If you were to call a girl on social media a slut or a whore, that would go down very badly. But if you were to accuse a guy of being a virgin, that would just be seen as a quippy insult. So there are asymmetries in what is typically used and what's typically accepted, I think. Mm-hmm. And bald lives matter, man.
But in a world where we're not allowed to make rules based off of generalizations, right? Where we have to factor in every little specific thing, you are now making a rule based off of a generalization.
What's an example of a rule that we're not allowed to make something based on a generalization?
Well, we have to factor in all different genders and norms. Like we create rules based off of, transgenders wanting to use different bathrooms, things like that. They're not the norm. They are not a major piece. They're not. They're an
outlier.
They're an outlier. Where now we're using a generality to determine this rule, right? Like men are bald, women aren't. So now we have to make this rule. It's very interesting.
Well, right? It is. But I actually think that this is part of a just general odd trend of people getting themselves into situations in court where they just want to get back at somebody that they feel has aggrieved them. And now, without actually realizing it, you have somehow created a precedent where calling a man bald counts as sexual harassment in the UK because it's a protected sex characteristic.
Americans see things that the UK do, and we just laugh. Like, we think it's hilarious. And the funny thing is, the opposite happens too. The UK sees things that America does, and they laugh too. We just laugh at each other for the stupid shit that we do, the stupid rules that we come up with. It's so funny. I remember you said this to me yesterday, man, and I was laughing so hard because it was in the UK. That's why I thought it was funny, and that for no real reason. It's just like,
dude, it'll be coming for the US as well. What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full unedited episode, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.